Welcome and congratulations for your purchase of the Nemko system. This training video is to coincide with our recent launch of 6.06, and it's going to have all the latest information. Now, one thing that's no doubt on your thank you page is the fact that you have 3 downloads. One is used now, and that's going to give you this working version today with the most up-to-date stats. But you're also going to want to use those others the day before your draft. We continuously update the software every day with the latest news. So the day before your draft, download the product again, and we leave you an additional just in case something happens that day. Between the 2 computers, you have an extra one that's not going to impact getting the software when you need it. Now, a general note about the package in general. It's built in Excel, and the objective was to try to give a software that worked universally without any issues on everybody's server. And it certainly has done so, and it's worked really well for our customers. It's saved in Windows 97 through 2003, saved down essentially, so that anyone in 07 can use it in compatibility mode, and likewise in 2010. Now, if you don't have Excel, there's a link that is available for a free trial of 2010 for 60 days, so it'll cover you more than for your draft. A quick note here, when you open, it's going to usually ask regarding macros. You're welcome to run them if you want, but the software runs fine with them disabled, and that keeps you in a safer security level. So that's the objective, or that's the kind of basic way to do it. So general familiarity. The areas here that are in orange are the priority from an input standpoint. So for example, here you have your draft spot, which in this case will update to 4. Picks per round is 12, so this means I have 12 teams that are picking every round. And this is for a regular serpentine draft for our PPR league. This is current pick is 1.01, which is first round, first pick. We haven't started yet. And the next pick for us is 1.04, or the 4th pick in the first round. Now this is really the only information you have to worry about for input other than the check boxes. Everything else is output. The weekly average will show your score once you select your team. The draft rating will just tell you whether they did great, good, etc. And likewise with bench strength. And then the record is going to use the players that you have selected and the likely record you're going to get. So, some general familiarity about forming the team. Coming down here, all players are organized by position and then by alphabetical by first name. So as you go down, you're going to be able to find all the players alphabetical by first name. The G's means gone. It's a cream color, so when a player goes in the draft, when they're selected, you pick gone. You have to give the system the necessary information along the way to allow it to make sophisticated decisions when it's time for your pick. So, for example, let's go through a normal draft, and you have 3 players that normally go in the top 3 positions. So we would take Ray Rice, he's gone, LaShawn McCoy, and Arian Foster. That's going to tell you the 4th overall pick to pick Aaron Rodgers. So here you'd select mine. It's going to populate them here in the top for your starters, and it's going to move the pick forward. I'm going to tell you your next pick is the 2nd round, 9th pick within that round. Now a note here, these XXX miscellaneous slots at each position. These are available for 2 main reasons. One is if you have a hometown hero that's selected that normally wouldn't be in a normal draft, but somebody wants one of their team because they're their friend, then you would select G to let it know, hey, we have a player that's unusual that was selected, or if you can't find him in the list for any reason. The other is if you miss a player, or you can't find him and you're in a hurry. So if you scroll down and you clicked everyone and it's now your pick, so if we went back, for example, to when we were selecting for Aaron Rodgers, and I'm going to deselect Aaron Foster. So now I'm going to pretend we missed him. We just missed Aaron Foster, and the person says, it's now your pick. Should be number 4, but it's stuck on 1st round, 3rd pick. That means we missed someone. So I'd select here, saying miscellaneous. It's going to propagate and say that there's an additional pick that was selected. Now everything's set up for you to pick Aaron Rodgers. Now where that's going to come out in the wash is when you get to your next pick and you're at the 2nd round and Arian Foster's still there, it's going to say in this line, pick Arian Foster. And when that happens, you're going to know, oh, wait a minute, that's the one I missed. Deselect miscellaneous, scroll down, and then select Arian Foster. And it'll catch things back up. The system will again be balanced, etc. Now, when you're selecting the pick, the way to always keep these things separate, again, M is mine and G is for gone. So M is the orange for any Nemko-related picks, and G is for gone. Now, you'll notice this just populated a warning. So if we get to Aaron Rodgers, and let's say we made a mistake and selected gone, it's going to tell you, hey, you're missing your M. Please confirm your team. Aaron Rodgers should be appearing here. You forgot to select the M. And it's really either, you only have to select the M if it's your player again. A couple of general statements. One is, along the way, there's going to be some picks that really you don't agree with. It happens almost with everybody that's changing to the system and realizing the power it has. They're going to not agree with a few picks. Get to the end, then compare your stats, because this is a very sophisticated decision engine, much higher than just simply selecting the best overall player. And one thing that comes up often is the kickers in defense, when they're available and they're a top-tier defense or kicker, they're going to be telling you to select those earlier than, say, than most drafts recommend. Because we don't put a significant value on kickers in defense, but there is a value nonetheless, and it has to be incorporated. And there's usually a spot where they're available to pick a top-tier defense and not really cost you anything to your overall team. Another question that comes up often is bye weeks, which is essentially very rarely regarded because a bye week has very little impact with your ability to win or lose the Super Bowl. The objective is to have a winning team that's going to make it to the Super Bowl in the end and win the Super Bowl in the end. And if you have to take a hit on one of those weeks in the middle, you have a strong enough team that you're not going to be impacted significantly by that decision. In fact, statistically, many times you come out ahead when you have those duplicate bye weeks. One thing to mention is not to panic if you get behind. A lot of people will be 2 or 3 picks behind and they start panicking. When it comes to your pick, you're going to have a minute to a minute and a half easy to catch up and catch those players and look back. You can select a lot of check boxes in a minute and a half if you need to. And remember, you don't have to sort through a lot of information to make your decision. You simply look at the player and rattle off who you need to take. And then at the end, compare your statistics at the end, and that's where the stat check is going to come in. I'm going to select some players just to kind of build an overall team, and we will compare them. So I'm basically fast forwarding in the draft. This is a kind of a typical team that somebody non-using the Nemko would draft. So when you look over here, it's going to look at the statistics per week and their actual points, receptions, etc. And this is just a crude statistical outputs for you to reference. So at the end of the day, you'll know that our statistics are not inflated. They're in line with what you can expect for those players. Aaron Rodgers on any given day, any given rating system is somewhere between 28 and 32 points in a traditional PPR league. So now you should be ready to be in a position to utilize the mock drafts, and it's very advisable to do so for a few reasons. One is to get a feel for the interface and some of the players you might not be familiar with. It works very smooth, but you have to kind of get a comfortability with it moving in and out to the various players. The other is to have the confidence to make those questionable picks that others are going to raise their eyebrows on, knowing that in the end your team's going to have a weekly average score of 135 to 140 when it's all said and done. And last but not least is how to organize your screen. So this button here is going to restore the screen down, and then you can manually grab and adjust the size downward, left or right. Some people prefer it down here in the lower section and the internet browser above. Some people prefer it half and half. Now, a small piece of advice when you download the entire system: save a master file. So that's using the Save As feature. Save 2 copies so that you have one that's related as master. That way when you're done with the mock draft and you've selected all these players, you don't have to go back and unclick the boxes. You just don't save and go back to your master file and start all over again. And again, there's some links for mock drafts on this page. There's several resources out there that have mock drafts that you can utilize to gain confidence in the system. That's it for the instructions. Enjoy the Nemko systems and the victory it's going to bring you. You're going to have a real good time with fantasy football, I promise you. Your season's going to be awesome. Enjoy.